So what do you get when you combine a Firebird with a Telecaster? You get a B3 Phoenix. So in today's video, I'm going to review the Phoenix. I'll cover the specs of the guitar, as well as provide several sound demonstrations. At the end of the video, I'll compare the Phoenix head-to-head with a classic Telecaster. And ultimately, I'm curious whether these hybrid-type guitar designs are just a novel idea, or whether they stand on their own 2 feet. So let me know if you're hearing more Firebird in this guitar, more Telly, or does it have its own personality? Let's find out. So B3 Guitars was started by Gene Baker. He's been building custom guitars for decades. He's built guitars for Robin Ford. He came up through Fender. He was a master builder there before branching out and starting his own companies. And B3 offers several custom guitar models in all kinds of cool options. This is the Phoenix. I've also owned the SL model, which I featured in my Les Paul alternative shootout video, so check that out if you're interested. So the specs of this guitar it shares in common with a Firebird include a mahogany body and mahogany neck. It has a neck-through construction, meaning the neck is one piece that extends all the way through the body, and the sides are glued on. It also has mini-humbuckers like a Firebird. These are lollers, and it has a rosewood fingerboard. Otherwise, the rest of this guitar is all Telecaster. We have a Telecaster-style bridge pickup. This is a Lollar T. We have a T-style bridge and saddles, T-style control layout, master volume, master tone. Where it deviates from a Telly is we've got a 5-way, and this thing gets some pretty convincing position 2 and 4 Strat-like tones, so we'll check those out in the sound samples. And this has a 25.5-inch scale length. So let's check out the bridge position with some medium gain. I'll be using a tube screamer stacked with a Vemram ODS-1. So I find the bridge pickup on this guitar to have a lot of clarity, a lot of twang, and a lot of bite. Really everything you'd expect from a killer Telly pickup. So what intrigued me about this guitar and why I decided to buy it? It's actually a NAMM guitar. The guitar was built for NAMM 2017. And what's unique about it is it's fabricated from one piece of lumber. So ordinarily this is neck through, the sides are glued on, but this guitar is literally one piece of lumber. You'll see there's no seams to be found anywhere in it. And I thought that was just the coolest thing. And I found it used for an amazing price. And having been a B3 SL owner, I knew how fantastic Gene's work was. I took the plunge. So up next, let's go to the middle pickup position. I'm gonna be using some light overdrive with my Vemram Janray. And I wanna explore some of the tonal variances we can get by changing up the pick velocity as well as where the guitar is picked. So notice when I'm picking lighter, the kind of tones we get. I'll dig in a little bit. Notice the difference in the gain structure. I'll pick a little bit closer to the bridge and a little bit closer to the neck to hear how that changes the sound as well. So listen out for that and let me know what you think. So I don't know about you, but I was hearing a little bit of Gretsch vibes in that middle position. Let me know what you think. I also find this guitar to be very responsive to my touch, which is very addicting to play. So a really cool feature about this guitar that can take you places that a Firebird and Telly really can't is the in-between positions, thanks to the middle pickup. So let's check out position 2 and then we'll check out position 4 and see how close that can get us to some quasi-Strat-like tones. So I don't think there's anything controversial in saying that nothing quite replaces the quack of position 2 in a Strat. However, I must say, position 2 in the Phoenix is among the best proxies for that sound that I've come across. So let's see how the quack in position 4 stacks up next. So I think that last clip really showcases the dynamic range of this guitar. It's a ton of fun to play. There's so many tones you can get just by varying your pick attack and where you're picking relative to the bridge and neck. Also, you might have noticed at the end there, I was trying to pop some of those strings. While I'm not a chicken picker by any stretch of the imagination, I think you can find those kind of tones in this guitar with ease. So up next, let's check out the neck position. So I'm really digging the mini humbucker in the neck position. I find it to be quite clear, has a nice bell-like tone, works great for rhythm as well as lead. I did feature the neck pickup in the first half of the intro lead. And I find it had some of that David Gilmour type tone there that I really like to go for. So up next, let's see how close the B3 can get to a more traditional Telecaster type of tone. I'll be using my Whitfield T, which is a classic Telecaster design. It has a lightweight ash body, maple neck, typical vintage pickups and electronics. So I'll be very curious what differences you're hearing, so let me know. So I found the traditional T-style guitar to be a bit brighter. I think that's due to the ash body and maple neck, whereas the Phoenix was warmer sounding due to the mahogany body and neck. You may have noticed that the vintage T was a little noisier. That's due to the 60 cycle hum of the traditional single coil pickups, whereas the Phoenix was quieter thanks to the hum canceling design of the mini-humbuckers. One thing I was surprised about is that the Phoenix had more pop and snap, especially when I was using my fingers. And I think that's one of the unique aspects of the voice of this guitar. So one thing I wanted to circle back to is the construction of this guitar. As I mentioned earlier, it's fabricated out of one piece of lumber. And conventional wisdom would have it that this guitar should have superior sustain. It's often argued that a set neck guitar has more sustain than a bolt-on neck. So surely a guitar fabricated out of one piece of lumber would have better sustain than both. So I thought it'd be fun to test it out. So I'll strum a chord on both guitars at the same time, and we'll see which one times out first. We'll have the B3 panned on the left alongside the Whitfield panned on the right. So let's check it out. So while not the most scientifically rigorous test in the world, I was expecting there to be a much bigger difference where there really wasn't a meaningful difference at all. The Phoenix timed out marginally sooner than the Whitfield, but surely given the construction methods, I thought that the sustain would be quite notably different between the two guitars. Curious if you were surprised by the results or what your experience has been trying different neck constructions on different guitars, let me know. So I'm really curious to know your thoughts now that we've been through the sound examples, and even based on your own experience, do you find that these hybrid style guitar designs are just sort of a novel thing, or do they have their own reason for being? In the meantime, I'll offer some of my thoughts and observations. And I have to say, I don't have a lot of experience playing Firebird, so take my opinion with a pinch of salt. But my impression is that the Phoenix leans a touch more Firebird with some added twang, the benefits of Telly ergonomics, and the added versatility of positions 2 and 4 thanks to that middle pickup that can provide some pretty convincing Strat-like tones. So do I think it'll replace a Telly? I don't think so, although it does have some Telly-like vibes. Do I think it'll replace a Firebird? I assume it probably doesn't. But I do think it's a super inspiring guitar to play, and it takes me places that my traditional T-type doesn't take me, and it takes me places my Gibson-style guitars don't take me either. And at the same time, it's super versatile. We heard some Gretsch-like tones out of it, some Telly-like tones out of it, some Strat-like tones out of it. So all in all, I think this guitar has its own reason for being. It's super versatile, super inspiring, a lot of fun to play. Let me know what you think. So that wraps it up. Thanks a ton for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. That will really help get the content to others that may enjoy it as well. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.